send its air machine over Arab countries to attack Baghdad. It can attack Baghdad in kind with Jericho missiles, two different missiles, one with a 700, one with an 1,100 mile range. And but I caution you that this is a serious attack on Israel.
All right, Fred, let's go to Martin Fletcher. We have only a few moments left on the satellite time, Martin. You heard that, a major attack, in the words of the American Defense Department. What can we expect next in Israel?
Well, before I speculate on that, Tom, let me just update you on the details. We have one large building in Tel Aviv that has collapsed from a missile, and we have confirmation that victims of chemical war have been taken to that very hospital that I mentioned earlier. So it looks pretty serious, and it's the kind of attack that Israel said, if it happened, they'd take retaliation into their own hands. I can't say now what they're going to do, but they said chemical war means Israeli retaliation.
Yeah, it is a very bad situation, getting much worse moment by moment. It seems to me absolutely unavoidable for the Israelis to stay out of this, if that in fact is the case. What kind of a building was it that was collapsed, Martin? Do we know? Was it residential or commercial?
Don't know if it was residential or commercial, Tom. We're trying to find that out, but there are victims which suggest that it was commercial. That it suggests it was residential. It's in a combined residential commercial area in the poorer part of Tel Aviv.
All right, we are now getting word from NBC News in Jerusalem that that city, which is holy to all of the religions in that region, was not in fact struck. But Tel Aviv, which is the commercial center, the biggest, most important city in, that's Jerusalem, it was not hit, we are told, by missiles. But Tel Aviv was hit. But everyone there has been told to go on alert because Israel is a tiny country. It's about the size of a good Texas county. And any attack anywhere in that country could have ramifications for the entire nation. NBC's Martin Fletcher reporting that a major building has been hit in Tel Aviv, that victims of a chemical warfare attack have been taken to a hospital. How serious and how widespread it is, we cannot say at this time, but the fact that one has been launched at all makes it serious almost beyond my ability to describe it. And we do not know where Operation Desert Storm will go from here. It means almost certainly, I believe, that the Israelis will have to get involved. And then the big question is, what will be the response in the Arab alliance with the United States standing in the Persian Gulf? What will be the response on the ground of the Arab masses in places like Syria and Egypt and Jordan, for that matter? Will this crude and ruthless and almost unthinkable tactic on the part of Saddam Hussein, will it work to his advantage? Will he mobilize the Arab masses as he has been trying to at this point, with words and with rhetoric, but now with chemical weapons? We cannot say at this moment, but the situation in the Middle East tonight could not be more grave at this hour. It's coming up at 10 to 4 in the morning in Iraq. We can only presume that Operation Desert Storm is continuing, those air raid attacks on military targets in Kuwait and in Saudi Arabia. We want to go now to NBC's Fred Francis at the Pentagon. Fred?
Tom, I'd make the observation that Desert Storm is an operation that was planned to go along very slowly, a step at a time, a target at a time, and officials in this building were telling me today that Desert Storm would last out to 10 days, that they were just going to take their time to minimize air crew casualties and pick Iraq apart a piece at a time. I think that changes that. What has happened in Israel changes that now. I think the tactics have to change because this is to keep Israel out of this war and to start a wider war in the Middle East. I don't think the U.S. Defense Department can go along with its original plan. And that, I fear, is what we're going to see in the hours ahead.
All right. Fred Francis, we want to go back to Martin Fletcher now in Israel. He is still there, available to us on the satellite. As you pointed out, Martin, this is the first chemical attack on a city in history. And here is a man who portrays himself as a pious defender, after all, of the Islamic faith. And he will stoop, he will do almost anything.
That's right, Tom. That's the way it looks here. And certainly Israel has now got to weigh up what kind of response it'll take. If I can just bring that to a more personal level, our camera crews are going into that area to try to get pictures. One has just returned. He started sweating under his mask, which is a form of reaction to some kind of chemical. We're not too sure what kind of reaction it is, but it's a bad reaction to find yourself in, so he's left that area.
I would think so, and we want no heroics on the part of those other camera crews as well. Pictures will come later. We'll just take the information for now, Martin. I want you to give them absolute instructions that they are not to in any way expose themselves or to risk any kind of damage to their health.
I've done that already, Tom.
All right. Any additional explosions? We've had, the last count, I think, was 5 missiles, Martin. Can you add anything more to that?
No, Tom. Yes, I can. No, the last count. I'm keeping a tally here of the explosions as I'm hearing them and being told about them. My tally says 12 or 13 missiles in Israel altogether. That's three, including 3 in the north of Israel, near Haifa and the city of Safat, which are sources out in the north has been calling us about. He doesn't know if it's chemical or conventional warheads up there, but we're in double figures with missiles now, Tom.
All right, and so far as we know, just one warhead with chemical capacity, or is that impossible to say at this hour?
Well, at least one, Tom. I can't add to that. I don't know, but it seems to me pretty sure that there'd be a mixture, because this is a typical tactic of confusion, of sowing terror. Chemical warheads, you know, Tom, are actually less destructive than a conventional warhead. Fewer people die from gas because it's not as the explosion is much smaller, and in a situation like this where the entire country is fully prepared, I doubt there'll be many deaths.
Martin, quickly tell us about the weather conditions there tonight, because that will be a factor as well.
Very important. Funnily enough, Israel has had no rain for the entire winter. Rain is what you need. That's good news if there's gas war, and today it rained for the first time in about a month.
All right, and is the rain continuing or not?
No, it's not continuing, Tom. We hope now. We hope that it does start raining again, but the conditions...
Okay. All right. Martin, we're just going to ask you to sit there and to tell us all that you know, as long as we have satellite capacity. Israeli radio, of course, is the great connector in that country. What are you hearing from Israeli radio tonight?